What do you know about Scotland? Because a lot of people, Americans, have a super romanticized idea about its kilts, bagpipes, and castles, and that's all real. But what if I told you that this is also one of the most geopolitically strategic places in all of Europe? Well, here's its geography explained by an American in less than 3 minutes. Are you ready? Here we go. Scotland is the second largest constituent country of the United Kingdom, occupying the northern third of the island of Great Britain, as well as 800 offshore islands, including the northernmost point in the United Kingdom, the Shetland Islands. If you need an analog, funnily enough, the country is almost exactly the same size and population as South Carolina. Almost all of its 5.5 million residents are clustered in what's known as its Central Belt, a lowland region between the largest city, Glasgow, and the capital, Edinburgh. This densely populated valley is bordered by mountains on both sides, with the southern uplands to the south acting as a border region with England, and the Scottish Highlands to the north taking up more than half of the country's land but being home to less than 5% of its population. Now, despite being called the Highlands, these mountains aren't particularly high. The highest point in all of the United Kingdom, Ben Nevis, is here at only 4,400 feet above sea level. Regardless, though, these are some of the most beautiful landscapes in Europe, with striking glacially carved fjords and valleys. If you have Scottish heritage, this is probably the area where your family came from, as during the 17 and 1800s, a particularly dark chapter of Scottish history called the Highland Clearances happened. This region used to be much more densely populated before up to 90% of its population, tens of thousands of people, were forcibly evicted to make way for sheep farming. And this is where it gets important, because as the northernmost point in the United Kingdom, the Scottish Highlands are also the closest point to Iceland and Greenland, forming an ocean choke point called the GIUK Gap. And this was strategic because any Russian ships or submarines that wanted to get out to the global ocean during the Cold War had to pass through either the tiny English Channel or the GIUK Gap, making NATO control of Denmark, Iceland, and Scotland extremely strategically valuable. But as you might have heard, not everybody in Scotland is super happy with their current political arrangement, and repeated independence referendums have come within razor-thin margins of passing. As it stands, Scotland is home to the only military base capable of hosting the United Kingdom's nuclear submarine fleet in a deep fjord in the west of the country. And if they were to vote to leave the UK and potentially NATO as well, it would set England's military back decades because they wouldn't have a good place to relocate the fleet to. But Scotland has resources of its own right too, most notably oil, with the vast majority of the UK's huge offshore oil deposits lying within Scottish waters. They also have a huge abundance of fresh water, with the famous Loch Ness alone having more water than all the lakes of England and Wales combined. As it stands, the country is about 50-50 split on whether they want independence from their southern neighbor, a question with huge implications not just for the United Kingdom, but for NATO and the European Union as well. Expect more videos on the geography of the United Kingdom coming very soon, but for now, Scots, let me know what I missed in the comments down below, and everybody else let me know where you think we should go next. Thanks so much for watching, follow for more.